cities. How does cities shape scholars? Can every city produce scholars? Or certain cities naturally more fertile to produce intellectual development, and why?
This is interesting. You know, the cities has played a great role in especially those cities that are rooted in the values of civilizations. Particularly, we are talking about our own case, Islamic civilization, played a crucial role in shaping scholars. So they do not merely by offering physical infrastructure, but by embodying a worldview that nurtures intellectuals, spirituals, and moral development. So, in this is a general statement. So you have, I may refer, let's say, cities as manifestations of worldview. This is lacking, unfortunately, in current age. Cities does not manifest any kind of worldview, and this has started, I guess, since 1950s. After Second World War. And you find something is missing in that in as a manifestation of worldview. They manifest politics, they manifest ideologies, but they do not manifest the worldview of values. Secondly, the ethos, in the of the city shapes the ethos of the scholar. This issue is very crucial. And number three, perhaps urban civilization, imara, what they call it, urban civilization, and the culture of knowledge. What do we mean by culture of knowledge? When you compare, for instance, Baghdad, Cordoba, Fez, Isfahan, and later on Constantinople, Istanbul, because later on it was changed. Always was surrounded with, let's say, you have a center as a. Sometimes mosque was playing the role, but not in the sense of mosque, in the sense of masjid, in the sense of jamia. Jamia that brings scholars together. Masjid could be everywhere, but the jamia that brings scholars together, and then you have that circle around around the city center. We have very clearly in the Balkans this. We used to have in Skopje, although now the identity of the city has lost somehow because they plugged in so many things. But in the past, it was like that, or some in the Balkan countries, they are preserving this culture. You have in Sarajevo, for instance, everything is in the city center. The
Central.
safe, yes, well organized. So urban civilization and culture of knowledge should be put together. And then you have urban decline and scholarly decline. When you have this kind of, it reflects automatically. This is a very important point to be highlighted and discussed and put forward. And the last but not least is the balance between tradition and cosmopolitanism. So you want to establish a cosmopolitan, but you are avoiding from the tradition. It is possible. You are spitting to your own self, by refusing that thing. So these are the general points that I could highlight from my own experience, and I am still student. I'm still searching and I will be searching of. I'm thirsty, by the way, not thirsty of this glass of water. We have it. I thank our friends here, but thirsty of that hikmah that Prophet says, is a lost property of a believer. Look, did not say Muslim, of a believer, moment. So wherever you go, you take it. And when you take it, you don't take it blindly, You filterize it, you understand it, and try to consume. And that is the way how it was knowledge in the past. And in this token, and I would like to highlight something that some time ago, it was in Singapore where we had a nice discussion. I proposed to have, we have this trade road called Silk Road, isn't it? Everyone knows about, and everyone focuses on the trade. And my issue, my point is not about trade as much as it's movement of ideas, movement of scholarship through Silk Road, and how it was moving from one place and today, unfortunately, let's say Afghanistan. Sometimes joking, I say to my wife, what do you think about Afghanistan? And they look. I said, look, Afghanistan was center of knowledge in the past. Don't look what is going on now. Today, you have the famous, since it is your field, psychology. Today, Americans, American institutions I'm talking about, they are talking about cognitive psychology, isn't it? And it is taking its roots last 40 years, 30 years to discover that in Islamic civilization in Afghanistan, the city of Balkh, the area, Balkhi wrote very nice treatise on cognitive psychology. It's called علم النفس علم البدن علم الدين والأبدان.
Which in translation means
the knowledge of religion and body. And now American institutions, they discover that Al-Balkhi has written something, has answered our question enough. You don't need to go to kind of like labs and yes, you can develop, but you cannot reject. It is there, Al-Muhasibi, for instance, in psychology or something. So, but when you travel, you are always thirsty of gaining something, learning something, either taking or giving. So this umbrella, personally here, I am focusing, perhaps you have seen in my CV, I'm focusing on the tradition of ijaza, which today everyone is coming to institution to get degree, and no one is asking, what is the history of degrees that you are getting? Who started first? It did not exist in the Greeks, did not exist in late periods of early European, did not exist in Rome, did not exist in Chinese civilization, neither Indian. Who invented? How it started? It started with Islamic civilization. Thanks to the hadith collection. So they were searching for the right, true thing. And then 100 years later, you have this shifted to other sciences. Today, since 9th century, Gregorian calendar year, 3rd century Hijri, it became a kind of like well practiced. The authority was there, Authority was a scholar who is training. Now you have something, authority, authorized, I am student, and authorization. That is the meaning of ijaza.
Yeah, the content.
That's the meaning of ijaza. So once you remove the authority, how that authority should not be always, you should think that, he was one of the guys, one of the persons who transmitted past with some additional knowledge to it. But there is a thirst. There is a thirst in the world, that when they remove the authority, and authority became walls, structure, infrastructure. So you are graduate from where? I am graduated from this place, but who was teaching there is somehow neglected. So bring back authority to the institutions. So I am a collector of ijazas, and hopefully before I pass my responsibility in this world that I have, before I go, I would love to leave as a legacy, as a reference. I should not say legacy, but legacy in the sense of mine, but as a reference for the future researchers to study how this tradition of ijaza was functioning in the Islamic history of Islamic civilization in the Muslim geography, starting from Morocco all the way to Philippines, from Cape Town all the way to in the north in Kazan, Tataristan, that area. So I am collector of ijazas, and I am comparing, how they were giving the ijazas, in which areas. And ijazas were given in all areas, not only in religious studies. In psychology, perhaps, there was no knowledge, discipline under the name of psychology because it was
It's very new.
under the hikmah. They used under the hikmah, wisdom. So you have number of other like handasa engineering. You have so many branches under it. Then they used in طب, in medicine, they use ijaza, So the ijaza, I'm a student of ijaza. I'm collecting ijazas. So far, I have reached to 1,600 original unpublished ijazas. So hopefully one day I put forward, if health gives me opportunity, I will do that.